Baffled. That's right, fellas. The word is baffled. Because that is how Anthony Joshua has been feeling. Apparently. These are the words that are coming out of his mouth. He has said that he doesn't understand where this confidence came from that he sees in Joseph Parker. And he says that it's actually out of character of Joseph Parker to be acting this confidently. Because if you haven't been paying attention, Joseph Parker has been, saying stuff. He's been very confident in the abilities of him, his chances against Anthony Joshua. He has said that publicly that Anthony Joshua has a fragile chin. He has said that he's going to knock out Anthony Joshua. Him and his team, him and his trainer seem to keep suggesting that Anthony Joshua doesn't have the best punch resistance. And they're implying as though all Joseph Parker has to do is to catch him cleanly and he'll knock him out. Now, some people might not like the fact that Joseph Parker is very confident in himself, especially Anthony Joshua fanboys. They might not like it when they see a fighter acting like they're going to beat their favorite fighter. But people have to understand it's called having confidence. It's called having self-belief. Of course, Joseph Parker is going to be getting this confidence, especially if he's going to fight Anthony Joshua next. If Joseph Parker doesn't believe in himself, who's going to believe in him? Except for his trainer and his family members. That's it. He has to believe in himself. Of course, he's going to be going around telling himself stuff like, Anthony Joshua has flaws. I saw Carlos Takam exploit him a little bit. I saw him get dropped by Vladimir Klitschko. I saw Dillian White rock him. Of course, he's going to be going into this fight with that type of attitude because it's going to give him confidence. He's going to think to himself, well, if Carlos Takam could go 10 rounds with Anthony Joshua, why couldn't I? If Dillian White could hurt and buzz Joshua, why couldn't I? If Vladimir Klitschko could drop Anthony Joshua, why couldn't I? Of course, he's trying to say this. That's why he's going around saying this kind of stuff, to give himself confidence. And yes, it might be out of character because, Joseph Parker is normally a humble guy. He doesn't really talk much trash. But leading up to the Joshua fight, or if he does, leading up to this whole negotiation thing, he's been he's been very confident. And again, it's all about having confidence. I mean, can you imagine if Joseph Parker was going around saying stuff like, I don't know if I could beat Anthony Joshua, maybe I'm not ready, he's probably could beat me. You as a boxing fan, if you're a Joseph Parker fan, you would not like that, right? Even if you're not a Joseph Parker fan, you'll be like, oh my God, he's going into this fight with no confidence. You would not want to see this fight because you'll be like, he's going into the fight with no confidence. Why would I want to see this fight? He's gonna lose to Anthony Joshua. I don't want to see this fight because he's gonna lose to Anthony Joshua. That's how you will feel, right? So it would be a turnoff in a sense. So that's the reason he's going into this. He's, I guess you could say, talking out of character and talking a whole bunch of stuff because it's all about he's mentally preparing himself to see, because he's, like I said, he knows Anthony Joshua is a threat. He knows he might lose to him, so he wants to look at the positives going into this fight. Anthony Joshua is not unbeatable. He's been stunned by guys like Dillian White. He's been dropped before. He's been rumored to have a glass chin. So, of course, he's going to be telling himself this. Joseph Parker is going to be telling himself this to build his own confidence up. Now, I've always said this. I believe Joseph Parker loses to Anthony Joshua. I believe he gets stopped. But I don't think it's going to be an early stoppage. I think it's going to go maybe past round 8. Joshua has said stuff like he's not going to take the bait. Joseph Parker is trying to get in his head. I don't think Joseph Parker is trying to get in his head. I think Joseph Parker is just trying to get himself confident. He's trying to make himself believe that he can beat Anthony Joshua. I don't think he's trying to get into Joshua's head. But even if he is trying to get into Joshua's head, Anthony Joshua flopped Vladimir Klitschko in front of 90,000 fans. He got dropped in front of 90,000 fans in his hometown. That is a lot of pressure, right? But he didn't fold, right? He was able to come back through that and beat Vladimir Klitschko, right? So if he's able to go, experience that type of life crisis in a boxing match, then hearing Joseph Parker say stuff like you have a weak chin, you don't have a punches, you don't have the best punch resistance, I'm going to knock you out. that's not going to affect Anthony Joshua. So I don't think people have to worry about, that affecting Anthony Joshua in the slightest. I just think this is a way of Joseph Parker trying to boost his own, his own confidence. And again, I do believe if Joseph Parker is going to beat Anthony Joshua, he's going to have to outbox Anthony Joshua. I don't think he can knock out Anthony Joshua. I don't think so. But again, I think it's going to be tough for him to beat Anthony Joshua in England. I think it's going to be tough because Anthony Joshua is a superstar in England. And I believe if you're going to beat him in England, you're going to have to knock him out. I believe Joshua might be one of those guys that even if it goes to the scorecards, even if you thought he lost, they'll give him the fight because he's such a big cash cow in England. I think that's what Anthony Joshua, and I know people don't like to hear stuff like that, but I think that's what's going to happen to Anthony Joshua's career. I think there's going to be a time where Anthony Joshua is going to go the distance, and they're going to give it to Joshua, and you might think to yourself, oh man, Joshua lost that fight, but they gave it to him because he's the cash, cow, the cash king of the division, right? I believe that's going to happen to Anthony Joshua one day, because he's such a big star, and a lot of times with these big stars, they get gift decisions if it goes the distance. Again, it might not be that might never even happen. Who knows? Maybe that might never happen because Joshua is such a big puncher that he'll never let his opponents go to the decision. So even if his opponents are winning, he's going to stop them via knockout. But again, you never know. But again, I think Joseph Parker has to outbox him, and I think he could beat him if he outboxes him. But again, I just don't think they'll favor Joseph Parker. And Joseph Parker, I don't think he won't even go the distance with Anthony Joshua. Or maybe he will because Joseph Parker has never been dropped. Joseph Parker, seems to have a good chin. So maybe who knows? Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe he gets maybe he's able to take everything that Joshua has to offer. Because Carlos Takam went 12-10 rounds. And in my opinion, had the referee not stopped the fight, because I thought that was a horrible premature stoppage. Had the referee not stopped the fight, I have a feeling that Carlos Takam would have gone the distance, and he would have been the first man to go on the distance with Joshua. And mind you, Takam is a guy who got knocked out by Alexander Povetkin, but Joshua couldn't knock him out. I don't care what anyone says. I believe Takam would have gone the distance. So who knows if Takam could go the distance with Joshua? Why couldn't Parker go the distance? And that's all I have to say, guys. I'm out.